Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Spellbinders just released their Garden Shutters collection. There are 4 different die sets. I selected 2 to play with. The set on the right is called Eyelet Lace Frames. There are a total of 7 dies in this set. There's so many different ways you can use it. There's a couple of rectangles, so you could just use the rectangle. This piece cuts out all those teeny tiny squares, so you could create a little frame. The very center has all this stitch detail, little flowers and circles, and then it also has that little detail around the oval. The second set is Primrose Heart Façade. This set includes flowers, leaves, there's a heart, there's a sentiment, "You're in my heart." And that has the fun little detail to put inside the heart as well. So I'll be playing with both of these sets for my cards. The paper collection I'll be using is by Primrose. This is an older collection called Dream in Pastel. I think the soft colors are so pretty. For card design number 1, I have my background paper. I use some white shimmer cardstock. Then I cut out a second rectangle using 2 of the dies that are included in the Eyelet set. The larger rectangle and also the die that adds all those cut out tiny squares. I'll be adhering this panel onto some purple cardstock. That way you'll be able to see all the square detail. Using some liquid adhesive, running it all along that outside edge. Then I'll adhere both those pieces together. Put some ATG tape on the back of this piece and adhere it onto my background panel. And both of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, so 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches. For a little extra detail and some sparkle, I'm adding some Love from Lizi peel-offs. This is the pinstripe style in the purple holographic color. They're really sparkly. Using the medium and also the narrowest width. Put 2 along the top edge and 2 along the bottom. I do cut the peel-offs just a little bit longer than the background panel, but that way I can wrap the ends around the back and I don't have to worry about them falling off later. I'll put some ATG tape on the back of this white panel and adhere it to a purple cardstock panel. The white cardstock panel for the background is 5.25 inches by 4 inches, so that background piece is an additional 1/4 of an inch. I'll put my card front onto a card base. Then I used the smaller rectangle and cut out this purple pattern paper piece. Then I ran it through my die cut machine again with that floral piece that adds all that lovely stitch detail. I'll put some liquid adhesive on the back and adhere this piece inside that square rectangle frame. Isn't that pretty? I love how it has all the little cutout openings. For the sentiment on my card, I'm using Spellbinders Embroidery Flower stamp set. I love this stamp set. Those flowers are beautiful, and it also has 4 very general sentiments. For this card, I stamped out just a note, and the ink color is by Catherine Pooler. It's the Sweet 16 color. Now I'll set the card aside and start assembling the beautiful primrose flowers. So there's one side view and there's one front view. So I'll be using both. To add a little bit of dimension to the flowers, I'm using the Sweet 16 ink color, adding it to the center, and then on that side view flower, I'm putting the ink on the edge. And I'm just going for a very light coat of ink. Now I can start assembling the flowers. For the front view, there's the little center, and I cut that out from some purple glitter cardstock. You can never have too much sparkle on a card. Then for the side view, there's the larger petal piece and then the smaller petal piece. Just adhere those 2 together. And instead of cutting out the stems and leaves from green, I decided to use that same dark purple cardstock. I'll attach the stem on the back side. I realized I put the glue on the wrong side of the stem at first, but that's okay. I'll be putting some on the back side as well. Now that I have all the flowers assembled, I can figure out placement on my card. I'll be placing one of the flowers in the upper left-hand corner and two in the lower right-hand corner. I'll attach the full flower with the stem first, and I can add one of the leaves. After attaching the leaf, I decided to pop up the very end, so I'm adding a thin foam square underneath. I'll be adding some of the foam dimension underneath the other two flowers as well. I'll remove the release paper, adhere this flower on top in that lower right hand corner. All of the petals look just slightly different, so I was trying to decide what direction I like the best. I'll adhere two of the leaves behind that top flower, just gluing them directly on the back side. Then I'll add the foam dimension, including those two leaves. Remove the release paper and adhere it in the upper left-hand corner. And this flower will overlap the sentiment little oval piece just a tiny bit. Then to finish off the card, I'll add a few gem stickers. These are by Spellbinders. It's their crystal mix. I'll put two of them in the upper left-hand corner and one in the lower right-hand corner. So there is my finished card, and I did make two using this design. I know I have a lot of purple fans out there, so I decided that first card needed to be purple. But now I need to make a pink card. So for this card, I'm using this same Paper Rose paper collection, and I'll be using the large die. Now, as you can see, this is very large, much bigger than an A2 size card. It would work great if you make 5x7 cards, but you can still use it on an A2 size card. So here I just turn the die and cut out this piece. So this is a horizontal A2 size card. I think I ended up cutting about 2/3 of that full panel. Using the large scallop, I also cut out this white piece from some white shimmer cardstock. The only spot you'll see of that shimmer cardstock is through the holes on the pink pattern paper. So I'll glue the two pieces together. I did put a little bit of ATG, but then I'll also add the liquid adhesive to get all along the little detail area. The white piece is a little bit longer, but that's okay. I'll be trimming it off. So once those are both attached, I'll put some ATG and liquid adhesive. I do tend to use a lot of adhesive on my cards. Since I donate so many of them, I just want to make sure they don't fall apart later. And I realized I adhered it just a little bit too high up. So I was able to pull it off, flipped over that pink cardstock, and then reattached it. Now I'll take my scissors and trim off that extra white cardstock. And I noticed there still was a little bit on the very bottom, so I just used my paper trimmer to clean that up. Put some more ATG tape on the back and adhere my card front onto a card base. I love all that floral detail. It's so pretty. I'll be adding a strip of the white shimmer cardstock toward the lower portion of the card. First, I attached a gold clear mirror peel off. This is the widest width. Put it along the very lower edge of that white strip. Before I adhere that strip, I will add some scrap pieces of cardstock to the very right and left, just to keep everything at the same level. I find if I don't add those pieces, there'll be a noticeable dip on the front of the card. Then I'll use some liquid adhesive and adhere this strip to the lower portion of the card. Now I'll set that aside and start working on the sentiment and the flower images. I'm using just the word your, which is part of the die set. I cut it out twice, once from some gold mirror cardstock and again from some pink. And I'm layering the two pieces together, leaving just that peak of the gold from the back side. Put some liquid adhesive on the back and adhere it in the upper right hand corner. I'll place an acrylic block on top for some added weight and let the glue adhere. Now I'll start working on the flower. So this time I cut it out from some light orange cardstock, and I'll add that little extra detail using the Bellini Ink Color by Catherine Pooler. I had considered making pink flowers, but decided to go with the peach instead. On the pattern paper, there's a little bit of that light peach orange color. So I thought I would pull that out by making the flowers the same color. So once I have all of those flowers assembled, I can start adding them to the card. But first I'm going to finish up the sentiment. So I'm placing my card into my mini MISTI. I'll be using one of the sentiments from the Embroidery flower stamp set. It's "You are awesome," but I'm only using the word awesome. So that way the full sentiment will be "You're awesome." I put some tape over the "You are," inked up the word awesome, and then I can stamp it onto my card. And I do need to ink it up one more time. Whenever I do this, I have to mentally remind myself to remove that piece of tape. Can't tell you how many times I went and stamped it with the piece of tape and it just ruined the card. So now it's time to add the flowers. I'll be putting all 3 of them in the lower left-hand corner. I'll start with that side view flower that has the stem. So once I get the placement for that flower correct, I can add the other 2. And I will be popping them up using some thin foam squares. I'll attach one leaf behind each of the large flowers. Then I'll put those thin foam squares on the back side. The very last flower will overlap the other flower just on one of the petals. So once I have those in place, I can finish off the card using some more gem stickers. These are also by Spellbinders. It's their gold mix color. This is one of my favorites. There's 2 different gold colors, a very light gold and a darker gold. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. It's really hard to choose a favorite. I'm not sure if I like the pink or the purple more. So here's another look at the 4 cards I made using Spellbinders Garden Shutters collection. I love that eyelet lace frame. The detail is amazing. And the primrose flowers are so lovely with all that etched detail. I will have links provided in the description box if you are interested in any of the products I showed in this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.